Hey everybody, Jeff Reinhardt here, LMP and Lancaster Online. Welcome into Week 7 of the LL Football Roundtable. Brought to you by Auto House of Lancaster. Here we are in beautiful Denver, home of the Cocalico Eagles. Big game this week. They get the effort of Mounts in a rematch of the District 3 5A championship last fall. If you haven't noticed, Cocalico's playing really good, guys. They've won 3 in a row, and their defense has been great. Let's talk all things Eagles with the QB. You know him, Josh Meyer. Hi, Josh. How are you, bud?
Doing great, yep.
Okay. You guys are playing well. What's going on here the last 3 weeks? Seems like you found it after kind of a wonky start for you guys.
Yeah, first 3 games, we lost to LS and New Oxford, and they were 2 very good teams, so we knew we had to step it up if we wanted to compete in our section. So kind of start of the section was kind of, now it's the start of the season, so we got to be ready and we got to hit the ground running so that we can actually do well in our section.
As a senior guy who's been through this a lot and won 2 district titles, how important was it for you and your senior guys to keep everybody on the same page and keep everybody's spirits up and not panic?
Yep. Yeah, our seniors are doing a very good job. We got a lot of young kids that are starting now, and our seniors are doing a really good job making sure everybody's calm because seniors have been there before. We've been through 2 district championships. We've been in the season for a long time, and so it's really showing that they're showing their being veterans and make sure everybody's calm and understands what they need to do, even if we know the team we're heading against is pretty tough.
Your defense is playing really good here. You shut out Spot, you held Warwick to 7, and you held Manheim Central, the rival, to 2 touchdowns. Speak to the defensive end if you could. What's going on that side of the ball? Are you swarming? Are you making plays? I'm sure you're prepared X and O wise for a Friday night, but what's happening defensively here the last month?
Well, we got a huge piece, Dane Bollinger, back this week. That definitely helped us out a lot. Another shout out to Rylan Jenkins. He's been playing really well first year at DN. And our freshman Logan Horning, who's been surprising everybody, having a really great year playing linebacker.
Rematch on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Your next door neighbors, you know the guy. I'm sure you see all of them at McDonald's all the time. Anxious to get another shot at them because you know they want another shot at you after the district final. But to get to play effort again right away after last November, what's that atmosphere going to be like to get to go play those guys again?
It's going to be awesome. I don't know if it'll be quite as packed as it was last year up there at the stadium, but you know, they're a pretty good team. We got to be focused this week in practice. And, yeah, obviously looking forward to playing crosstown rivals. So
Definitely expecting it to be a sought-after game. You know, there's going to be a lot of people there ready to watch that rematch. I think if we do everything right and we do what we need to do, we can come out with a win. And but we're going to have to play Cocalico football in order to do it. And I think everyone's going to be psyched up for it and going to have plenty of energy entering the game.
And we are back from Cocalico in the studio for the latest edition of the LL Football Roundtable, brought to you by Auto House of Lancaster. My name is Mike Gross, and I'm hosting these proceedings. To my left is Jason Guarente. To my right is Jeffrey Reinhardt. These guys cover Lancaster 11 League football for LNP, LancasterOnline.com, and we're going to talk about the upcoming Week 7, right? Week 7 games. Schedule and maybe take a little bit of a way too early look at district playoffs. But again, we want to start with thanking the folks at Cocalico for spending a little time with Jeffrey and Tyler. And they have what might be the most interesting matchup of the week.
Interesting.
Which says a little bit about the week, but also
that a non-league game is.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's a non-league game, but it's also, Ryan's what?
It's a trophy game.
It's a trophy game, my friend.
We gotta love the trophy games. They're playing for the Review Cup this week. Rematch, if this game sounds familiar, it should. Effort and Cocalico played district finals last year.
How did a game get to be named after a newspaper when newspapers are committing suicide?
This happened years ago.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
It was.
I thought it was
many years they've been playing for this, and then it went away because they were in different sections and they didn't schedule each other, and then it sort of came back last year in the district championship game. So I don't have the exact number off the top of my head.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Cocalico's been really good. They've won 3 in a row. Really good defense. They've really stopped people, shut out guard spot, which got all of our attention, held Warwick to 7, beat the Barons last week, held them to 2 touchdowns. So Cocalico's been good. Dane Bollinger came back last week off a knee. That kid missed a lot of time. Came back and had 12 tackles. So there you go. He was ready to hit the ground running. Just really like what Cocalico's doing. Ephrata up and down, 3-3. Beat Central, which at the time was a statement win. I know the Barons were struggling a little bit. CV kind of took them behind the woodshed there. But Ephrata has 3 wins. They get a home game. But they get a really hot Cocalico team right now that is playing defense.
Conestoga Valley took the starch out of Ephrata a little bit, right?
42-7 Mercy
that
roll.
was very decisive.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Well, one thing about that game, a lot of crossover in those towns.
Oh, big
It's like
time.
a lot of Ephrata grads whose kids go to Cocalico or
Yeah,
vice
that's
versa.
true. Yeah.
Brian Stroll, Cocalico's coach, went to Ephrata.
Ephrata.
So that's why the game means so much.
Yep.
Is there's just so much crossover between
Big,
the two.
fun game. I expect the war to be packed and nutty, and it's a fun matchup. And the Review Cup will be in the building.
Now we have section races, and we have a few games on the schedule where, well, maybe kind of an upset possibility, which would really change things. Jason.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons the schedule's not so great this week is the best matchups are ahead.
Yeah.
The top teams are playing in week like CV and Exeter play week 9. LS, Wyomissing,
Coming up.
Twin Valley play week 8, 9, and 10, and then Wilson and Township play in week 10. So that's going to be the big finale. The best game in Section 1, in my view, this week would be Township at Cedar Crest. No one's really touched Township in Section 1. They have 3 shutouts in the last 4 games. Their defense is probably the most unrecognized part of their team. I mean, you got Julian LaRue and Taylor Vieux up front, and they are just like wrecking balls. And then Declan Clancy and your guy, Marcos Fernandez at linebacker, and then Don Rodriguez at secondary. And
That's true. Yeah.
They're not giving up anything. And their offense poured it on McCaskey last week, but they also shut him out. So it's working on both sides. Cedar Crest pushed Wilson. It was 14-7. Wilson is probably considered the biggest threat to Township, so Cedar Crest almost shook that up. They have Jackson Custer, who's an experienced quarterback, Isaiah Zimmerman, more than 700 yards rushing. It's a road game. It's at South Lebanon. Maybe Cedar Crest can hang around, put a scare into Township. Otherwise, Township's going to roll straight into the Wilson game in week 10.
A funky Cedar Crest stat. They put up 42 points last week and beat Reading. Despite 12 penalties for 125 yards. Ouch. Better not do that against Township.
Township's been hit with a lot of flags, too, at the game.
I noticed that. I do look at the penalty
the game
numbers.
I covered they did. That was a real problem for
That's
them.
something they'll have to clean up. But Township's been another level. And Carson Weiser, all of a sudden, now they're throwing the ball around. It was like Clancy for like 5 weeks. And now the last couple of weeks, Weiser's at like 500 yards and 8 touchdowns in the last 2 games.
Yeah, that's the reminder. We still have the big play passing game.
Evan said that to me in so many words when I saw them a couple of weeks ago. Like, we can still throw the ball a little bit. Like, okay.
They're really something. They are really a program. Well, anyway, as Jason alluded to, the biggest games are coming.
Yep.
But at this point, we thought we'd take a little bit of a look at district playoffs. So I'm really going to focus on 4A, 5A, and 6A because that's really where we're a factor, I think. And in 4A, Lampeter Strasburg is the number 1 seed and Wyomissing is the number 2 seed, and they still have to play each other.
Yep.
And LS still has to play Twin Valley, which is the monster there.
Yep. They're 4. Twin Valley's 4.
And Twin Valley's, what are they, 4? I think.
I think they're 4, and they're number 1 in the state in state rankings.
Something's not right there. Something's not right there. So those 3 teams are really. They're going to be in districts, and they could. You could see 2 of them meeting in the final.
Absolutely.
Right?
Would not surprise me in the least.
5A, of course, we have 100 5A teams, and 12 teams make districts in 5A, right? So it's, CV, despite being totally dominant and undefeated, is only the 4 seed. But there are some teams ahead of them that I think they would be a prohibitive favorite against.
Probably, yes.
New Oxford, Shippensburg, Mechanicsburg. Of those 3, those are the 3 that are ranked ahead of them. Let's just say
and
that.
New Oxford shut out Cocalico.
Yeah, New Oxford is not one of the teams that I was referring to when I said CV would probably be a prohibitive favorite. But anyway, Bishop McDevitt is number 6.
How about that?
Okay, come on.
Yeah,
and then we have
someone's going to get a real bad draw in the first round.
Great year, guys. 9-1. Who do we get? McDevitt.
And Exeter is 7.
That's a little surprising. They might be the best team there on
yeah,
paper.
somehow
on paper.
our teams, it's not translating into power ranking points that well.
It speaks to the non-league a little bit.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
schedule those games 2 years out, so you don't know
Yeah,
what
I
you're
know.
going to
Sure,
get.
of course not. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
And and because it's such a big field, Cocalico, Warwick, Ephrata, they're all still, in it. 6A Township number 1, which is not a surprise. A little bit of a surprise. Central Dauphin East is number 2.
Yes.
The 2 seed. Wilson is number 3. Cedar Crest and Hempfield still in it. CD still has to play McDevitt and Harrisburg. And Harrisburg, I think, is the 4 seed, so that's a monster
With a loss,
in there too.
yeah. And they beat McDevitt. So
right.
that'll help
But they beat
their ranking later.
So anyway, that's where things sort of stand. And as we have mentioned, the really decisive games are still to come in all of these brackets.
8, 9, 10 weeks coming
Yeah.
up here. We'll have big first place games. Yeah.
For the good of the order,
Good
Jeffrey.
of the order. Let's mention Evan Myers, Twin Valley quarterback. It's so neat to talk about the Berks kids. It's cool. Went over 5,000 career passing yards last week. 5th quarterback in Berks County history.
Forgive my ignorance. Is he a senior?
He's a 4-year starter.
And he's a 4-year starter, yeah.
And this week he'll go over 1,000 for the season. Then that'll give him 4 straight 1,000-yard passing seasons. Only Chad Henne has done that. I mean, this kid's getting his name on lists that Chad Henne's on,
Had a great
which is really impressive. So Evan Myers, 5,000-yard passer. I'm not sure what to do with that because they've been in the LL for 3 years, not all 4.
Oh, so
I
where
don't,
he ranks in LL.
in LL,
Yeah.
I don't know which list to put him on. I'll probably end up putting him on the LL list, but he'd be like the 32nd player in LL to hit it. So he's been great.
That's a flaw in the system, I guess. I don't know what you can do about that.
He's been great. 6 undefeated teams. We'll see which ones get through unscathed.
Yep. There you go.
And let's mention Conrad Weiser. You're familiar with them.
Still undefeated.
6-0. I think we can talk about Township and everything. I think one of the stories of the year might be Weiser right now.
They've been really good. Yeah, they've been outstanding. Jason, anything on your fertile mind?
Section 5, it's Schuylkill Valley and Hamburg, 3-0. The one thing this merger has done is given those Berks teams some hope.
Absolutely.
Because Hamburg and Schuylkill Valley were buried beneath Wyomissing and Berks Catholic
for
forever. And no matter what they did, they were going to get hammered by those teams somewhere down the line. And now they have something to play for. They're on equal footing with all the teams in their section, and I think it's been a big boost.
So that's
If they both win, they play next week in the
Is there another trophy?
Frost Bowl trophy game
Frost
next
Bowl,
week, of course.
Yeah, Frost Bowl.
I think there's a trophy game pretty much every week.
Wow.
Yeah, if Schuylkill Valley wins and Hamburg wins, and they'll both be favorites to win here, pretty big. They play for first place next week.
I mean, that's the game of the year for those kids. I mean, that's an enormous thing.
Yeah.
That'll be unbelievable for those guys.
Yeah, that has really worked the way it was planned to work and hoped to work. Yeah, no question.
Absolutely.
All right, gang. That is it. This has been the LL Football Roundtable, brought to you by Auto House of Lancaster. For Jason and for Jeff and for Mike, we'll see you again next week.